Greg invests $15,000 in Apple, earning 9.2% compounded exponentially. If Apple continues at this rate, how long would it take for the stock to be valued at $45,000? Okay, so as a reminder, there are two formulas for this. And I'm just going to go to the formula chart from Google Classroom. You can use this formula chart there. I'll go from Google Classroom. I go to formula chart, click that. It said compounded exponentially. The instructions said compounded exponentially. This was the key word for telling you which formula to choose. When I look at my formulas, they both say compound. But that exponentially tells you which one to use. Exponentially, does that mean use the formula on the left or the formula on the right? It does depend on what it says. So the key word is exponentially. What letter does exponentially start with? E. That's what that E right there stands for. So this is telling us to use the formula A PERT. So to solve this problem, we need to use A equals P times E to the power of R times T. All right, so the A is the final amount. What is the A in this problem? 45,000. The P is the initial principal, the initial amount. 15,000. The R is the rate, 9.2%. And as a reminder for Desmos, the way you get rid of the percent is you just divide it by 100. And we're trying to look for time. That's what we don't know. So to get our answer here, we can either type this in as one equation. The rate will be 9.2 divided by 100 times time. We can type this in as one equation. You could break it at the equal sign, type it in as two equations. Or I have a Desmos calculator for you for this one, Desmos pre-programmed. If I go to that, I'm going to go to compound interest. And I'll just use this one to find my answer. So I'll click this link. We're using A PERT. So on the two formulas, you choose the bottom formula. Initial, we need 45,000. We have 15,000. Our rate was 9.2 divided by 100. And the time is unknown, so you leave it as X. We don't need to use the N portion because it wasn't annually, semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily. It was exponentially. So that's not one of those words. I don't need to mess with that. So now I go to where they cross, and they're always going to cross at the A value. So I need to scroll up to 45,000. And so I'll just back out to make it easier. At 45,000, that's where they intersect. My answer is 11.941 years. 11.941 years. I'll go ahead and just spell out years. That would be my answer. Make sure I copy that number right. 11.941. Yep. Now, if you were going to solve this by hand, the way you would do so is to do your algebra is you divide the 15,000. You'd have to try to isolate the t. And so I would divide by 15,000. And for this problem, I chose good numbers to where 15,000 goes into 45,000 three times. So 3 equals e to the, I'm going to change that to 0.092 t. And the way you solve something that's in exponential form, so this is a base raised to a power equals some number, is you change it to a log. Say log, you write down the base, which is e, and then the power and the number switch. Log E3 equals it's ugly, let me try that again. 0.92 t.
Why the E on the bottom?
It's the base. This is the base, that's the power, and that's the number. And so when you switch it, the number and the power would always switch spots. So the 3 and then 0.9092 t switch. And finally, to get t by itself, we'll divide that by 0.92. So 0.92. And as a reminder, log of e is the same thing as natural log. So what I just wrote down is the same thing as this. That right there is the same thing as that. Natural log of 3 is the same thing as log base e of 3. So if I type this in the calculator, we should get the same answer. This would be doing it by hand. Let me just type it up here. ln of 3 divided by 0.092. You can see the number is the same. It's just the exact answer. So this one right here is not rounded. This would be your exact answer. Right there is the exact answer. This is the rounded answer. All right.